All right, Gervonta Davis apparently is returning to the ring very shortly. November 2nd is the word, and at the T-Mobile Arena, the question that was not answered, or at least addressed in this information it is spreading, is who it will be. Let's talk about that in this video. All right. Good news. We have word on a prospective Gervonta Davis fight taking place this year around the same time that Gervonta Davis was always planning to fight this year, which is in the November time frame. Specifically, November 2nd is the word that came out because there has been reservations made for that date by people associated with the PBC, and it looks like we're gonna get a fight. Now, will it be Shakur Stevenson? Oh, what wishful thinking we have. Will it be Devin the Dream Haney? Will he return and fight Gervonta Tank Davis? Probably not. So who will it be? Before I get into that, because best we can do is run down a list of who it may be. And there are some likely opponents and surprising likely opponent if you look at it from one particular angle. Before I get into that though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation, hit the subscribe button, and thank you to everybody that supports the channel. Now, we got the biggest name in boxing, Gervonta Davis, or biggest name in American boxing, biggest name American boxer. Still debate out there about whether or not Gervonta Davis has caught Canelo Alvarez, but the simple fact that there is debate about it lets you know exactly how big he is. Because ain't nobody getting really, truly, honestly compared to Canelo Alvarez in numbers and actually outsell Canelo. Yeah, with that Ryan Garcia fight and not be considered a big dog. So you would think that he wouldn't have any problem getting opponents. Especially, and the opponents that he wants specifically. But that has not been the case because he was in negotiations to fight Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko said, hey man, I'm not doing anything for the rest of the year. So there you go. Also, Shakur Stevenson's not signed to anybody. And you had Isaac Cruz, who it looked like at least the trainers for Gervonta Davis thought was a great fight. That fight has disappeared because Rayo Valenzuela beat Isaac Cruz. So, looks like, so who could he possibly be fighting? Well, let's go through a couple names. You have Rayo Valenzuela at 100. And so what are the pros of Rayo Valenzuela? Well, Rayo Valenzuela is with the PBC. He is a world champion. He is coming off of a very, very good win against Isaac Cruz. He is Mexican. So name opens up another market. You got the demographics that, people talk about often that are, work with Rayo Valenzuela, right? So the money, at least the money that, both fighters, and Rayo's probably not the most expensive person in the world. So if the fight does somewhere around what Frank Martin did before, everybody should be happy. Cons, he's at 140. And he would have to come back down to 135, or Gervonta would have to go up to 140. If Rayo comes down to 135, that looks like a bad move, right? On Gervonta, people will say what they say, oh, he drained him. Well, did he really? if it's just one fight that Rayo had at 140, if he comes back down to 135 and say, yeah, this is where I want my world championship, yeah, I'll do this. Similar to what Chad Dawson did when he moved down and he fought Andre Ward. So it's not unheard of. But I think it would be a good fight, man. Well, I don't know about a good fight. I think that it would be. So there's really sound reasons for that to take place. Then, of course, you got my favorite old school dude that I'm going to throw in there every single solitary time, Gary Russell Jr. So what are the pros and the cons to Gary Russell Jr.? Well, the pros for Gary Russell Jr. is, well, let me tell you the cons first, because you guys are going to love to hear the cons, because that's what y'all going to throw at me. The cons are that Gary has been inactive for well over a year at this point in time since he lost his 126-pound title to Mark Magsayo. But I think that on the opposite side of that, I think Gary Russell Jr. actually won that fight. So then you have the fact, the biggest and really the only real positive of it is the fact that I happen to like Gary Russell Jr. very much. And in the DC area, Baltimore area, that fight would be absolutely, positively huge. But I think that those guys are probably going to be in Vegas forever. I think Gervonta Davis might as well buy a house in Vegas. You know what I mean? I think he might as well go ahead and get a mansion in Vegas, because I think that's probably where he's going to be resting for a while, getting such a huge gate off of Frank Martin and the absolutely ridiculously large one that he got with Ryan Garcia. So then you have Edwin De Los Santos. Edwin De Los Santos, pros, again, Latino, brings in name, language that he speaks, brings in a different group, different demographic than Gervonta Davis naturally reaches. He speaks Spanish, so, you got that aspect of it. Another good part of it is that he really did push Shakur Stevenson, and if Gervonta Davis can really do something nasty and knock out Edwin De Los Santos, hey man, it rises Gervonta Davis's reputation as a fighter, right? Based on the outcome of that. Now, the downside of it is that, Edwin De Los Santos is coming off of a loss. But again, it was not a bad loss. It was not a bad loss because of the way that people talked about how Shakur Stevenson fought. But he also has very good wins, like the knockout win over Rayo Valenzuela. And see the connection between Rayo Valenzuela, Edwin De Los Santos, Gervonta Davis, they're all PBC fighters. So I think that is a good little kind of subsection of fighters that can go around, if you understand what I mean. So like that one. But the one that makes the most sense is the WBO champion, Bourenchik. He is one that really works, I think, in another little triangulation, in the triangulation in here, the first one that I mentioned was Gervonta, Edwin, and Rayo Valenzuela. This one would consist of Gervonta, Lomachenko, and Bourenchik, because they are both, number one, I think, they're both top-ranked fighters, and they're both world champions. So if Loma pulls out of the fight and Gervonta wants to stay busy, then hey, Bob, give me your other champion. Let me fight him. Let me fight Bourenchik, and then hey, man, they may be able to make some money off of a big Bourenchik fight with Gervonta. And hey, man, that really could be a big deal. Go back to Vegas with that. And then after that, you move right back into the fight that could take place with Vasily Lomachenko. So, there are different options. There's different triangulations of fighters that Gervonta Davis could be looking at. You can do the Eastern European route, or he could do the multi-weight class Latino, the Mexican and the Dominican. I personally like the Eastern European, go for Bourenchik. If he can get that IBF title, well, he would get that WBO title. in spectacular fashion, ugly, nasty ass, wow type fashion, and then wait for Lomachenko. Bob, go back over to Lomachenko. Let Bob Arum get that dough. You get that dough, and everybody's happy. Anyway, that's how I think it should play out, and hopefully that'll happen on November. So, but anyway, I think those are the available options to think through. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.